While NFC capability is built into a number of higher-end smartphones right now, a few of them can actually do anything with it unless you've got a Google Wallet working on it or some custom tags such as these that LG gives you. These tags, there are a number of different models, but Office Mode and Car Mode come with the Optimus 4X HD, and they allow you to quickly switch between different configurations of your phone. I've peeled back the protective cover from the adhesive on the NFC tag just so you can see the antenna underneath. This is what the NFC tag actually looks like. I'm going to demonstrate how the NFC tag works. This tag here puts the phone into office mode, so take a look at the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth there. I configured those to be turned on for office mode, so I'm just going to tap the phone on the tag. Vibrates, and you see the little toast notification on the bottom says office mode on. And you should notice that Bluetooth and Wi-Fi are coming on as well. If I tap again on the same tag, it prompts me if I want to disable it. However, if I'm in office mode, and you can see by the little office buildings up in the top left-hand corner of the notification area, and instead I tap on a different tag, such as car mode, you'll see it activates car mode. In this case, it turns on Bluetooth and goes to Google's navigation. But let's suppose you don't have a car and you don't want to use the tag as a car mode tag. The LG Tag Plus application has a cool feature that lets you clear the tag. So now it's been cleared, has nothing associated with it whatsoever. So if I tap on it, you'll see it says it's an empty tag. And say I wanted to use, let's see, we could use this user mode here. You can set things the way you like, turn GPS on and off, things like that. But just to be a little more simple, I'm going to say sleep mode. And I'm going to have it automatically go play 5 minutes of music when I hit sleep mode here. So I'm going to tell it to write that to the tag. Now it's written. And if we go elsewhere in the system, I'll just say sleep mode. You'll notice the brightness change, and music starts right up. And don't worry about forgetting to deactivate with the tag, because there's always a notification when you have a tag mode enabled, and you can just deactivate it from right there. So if you can't tell, I've actually been quite impressed by the NFC tags that LG includes. But there is a failing. Watch what happens when the screen is off. Nothing. Even when the lock screen is activated, it does not work. You have to be inside the unlocked device in order to get the tags to work. While we're here, let's clear out notification by swiping it away and go into the SMS application just so you can take a look at it. Threaded SMS. Unfortunately, you don't have access to font size controls, which is a bit of a bummer considering you have such a large display. You could certainly use a much smaller font than that. So next, let's take a look at Gmail. This is the same Gmail client you see on other Android 4.0 devices built by Google. Pull in a message here to show pictures. You can see it has HTML email support. Some controls here, as well as controls down at the bottom for, say, changing the labels, or for marking the messages unread. You can see it's still marked as unread. So let's take a look at the LG email client. See, we've got two accounts set up. Option for combined inbox. See, blue and green marked messages, so you can tell which account they're coming from. You can add more accounts if you like. Instead, let's go to one of the regular accounts though. Go into options. You can see we can change things like the number of lines shown in the preview. Right now it's set to 1. I can set it to 3 for example. And then when we jump back, see we have 1, 2, 3 lines coming in through the test message. Works pretty well. You can see some formatted text here. Attachment. Polaris Office, giving the option to read Microsoft Office documents. Another cool thing is if you go into landscape mode, if you have the phone configured that way, you can get a split screen view, which is not too bad since the device has a pretty large display. Let's jump into the calendar, take a quick look at it. You see we have the obvious day view, week view, and agenda views. A cool feature though is if you long press up here, you can drag down the shutter and at the same time access monthly view. Unfortunately, there's no special split screen mode in landscape orientation that I can find. Let's jump into LG's web browser here. See, looks pretty standard. A regular Google page comes up. This is how you switch between pages or close out a page. Go to the mobile burn site. Everything looks nice and sharp here. If we double tap zoom, you'll notice it pulls in a little bit too tight, just a little bit too tight to actually fit what I tapped on. Works pretty well though, nice and smooth zooming. I noticed though when I was using the Chrome beta it was not smooth zooming at all, even though it seems to work pretty well on the HTC One X. We've got HTML5 video support right there. Flash support as well, but if you don't believe me about the flash, you can go here and you can see Adobe itself says we're running flash. I like these little controls down here at the bottom. Show you on this page instead. Just tap here and now you have controls for like getting to your bookmarks or creating a new page. Overall, I found the browser to work quite well. Naturally works in landscape mode as well as portrait mode. Pages have loaded pretty quickly when it's had a good data connection, which means generally on a strong Wi-Fi signal rather than AT&T, but it's worked pretty nicely overall. Okay, I'm going to activate the camera here by dragging my finger on it in the lock screen and show you how it works. We have touch focusing. Just snap pictures with the shutter button there. You can move to the forward-facing camera, so you can see me up here. You can also record 720p video with the forward-facing 1.3 megapixel camera, although there's no autofocus. I'm going to use this button here to switch to video mode. You'll see right there it says FHD, which stands for Full HD or 1080p. And I'm going to start recording. But you might notice while I'm recording that there's still another button up here. So while I'm recording, I can just press that button and take a photo. It's not as nice as the HTC One X, not as fast or anything like that, but still it's pretty cool to have that feature available. You'll also notice that it focuses on the fly. So get nice and tight there. Has very good macro support. Focuses nice and sharply. Sometimes shooting video though, it takes a little bit of time to refocus, but you can see it's nice and sharp right now. Back in the still camera so I can show you the settings. All nicely organized. You have a lot of different effects and things you can do here. Geotagging naturally, colors, change resolution. I have it set to 8. Unfortunately, you can't get to flash and things like that you would really quickly want to switch around. Flash is right up here at the top, so you can't drag it into the shortcut bar or anything like that. Do have scene modes, HDR mode. I found the HDR mode not to be particularly effective. It seems to recapture some of the highlights, some of the whites, but it doesn't really do much more than that, and it's significantly slower. The panorama mode works pretty decently, and as does the continuous mode. Self-timer, zoom control, and of course that button again for switching back to the forward-facing camera. So let's pull up the contacts application. You can see here's your contacts. Nice alphabetized index tab along the right-hand edge. Of course you have favorites as well. Even down at the bottom it'll show other contacts that you hit up often, and you might want to make them favorites as well. These contacts are being pulled in from a Gmail account as well as Facebook and Twitter, but there's no real Facebook or Twitter integration in this system. So let's just pick a random contact, maybe like this schlub here. Don't know what he does for a living, but anyway, you can see there's a link to his profile on Twitter, but then it really just pulls it up in the browser. There's no status updates at all or anything like that. Cool. So in addition to this, you have access to groups and things like that, and you can configure the contact list to show any particular source, like only Twitter or only Facebook, or to show some combination of them as well. Here's LG's music application. Has the same nice index tab as we just saw in the contacts. Things are organized the way you would expect: songs, albums, artists, playlists. I also like that they have folders though, because sometimes your tracks just don't have the right ID information embedded in them, the meta information. And this allows you to get to the music tracks just based on the folder and how they're stored on your device, which I think is pretty handy. Unfortunately, there's not a lot going on in terms of cool effects or anything like that. Pull up an album here. You can see I like the background there. Play a song. There's nothing too interesting going on in terms of the way things are laid out. Even the lock screen, there's really no lock screen access to the music except through the notification area, which is something you would have anyway. So if I unlock the phone here, there's the notification controls, and so that's not really part of the lock screen itself. Navigation on this is a little clunky for me. I don't see an obvious way to get back to the library without going into the menu and picking library. Not great use of album art, and there's no cool 3D scrolling or anything in landscape mode. But the player is entirely functional. If you don't want to load up your device with music, you can always access the built-in FM radio. And while we're here, let's take a look at some of the applications that are in the main menu. See, we've got a calculator, some finance information. Google Plus comes pre-installed, as does Maps, of course. Media Home is just a simple application for accessing major media functions. Let's see what else we've got here. So the folder there, a news application. SmartShare is a DLNA client, software updates. Google Talk is preloaded. Now you're getting to applications that I've loaded myself. By default, new applications are tacked onto the end, so you have to organize everything. Does not seem to be an easy way to just say alphabetize, at least not that I've come across so far. So while I don't really love the hardware design of the LG Optimus 4X HD, I've been pretty happy with its performance. Call audio's worked pretty well. The reception strength seems to be pretty good, and all the applications load quickly and run smoothly, and I really love the NFC functionality. It's real functionality that real people can use without having to wait for some mobile payment initiative to come into effect. The display is quite nice. I'm not sure that it's better than the one on the HTC One X though, even though it is an IPS display, but it's definitely nice and bright. Battery life, I can't say so far. It seems to be decent considering the amount of time I've been using it, messing around with it lately, but I'll have to use it a little more thoroughly in order to make a real judgment call, so you'll have to wait till the written review for that. But until then, I'm Michael Orrell from MobileBurn.com. Thanks for watching.